Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. Now, numbers don't lie. And when they do their counting and they'll take a look at what's happening in the world, and a small country like Barbados can be in the highest rate of RAPES. Barbados is right there. I could have told you that. I could have told you that. In fact, when I did tell you, you guys choose not to listen. In fact, when anyone says it to you, what do? You hire the people. You hire them. You give them jobs. You give them promotions. You like it that way. You like them that way. You have, I don't know why. I do not know why, but you have this Bonnie and Clyde kind of attitude towards everything that's bad. You have an attraction to it. You could go ahead and admit it. You can go ahead and admit it. You can go ahead and say you've crossed the Rubicon. You can go ahead and admit that too, because no one in their right mind would ignore stats like this. No one. No one in their right mind would ignore this sort of stats that Barbados has the highest or is among the highest RAPE rates in the world. In the world. And when I tell you that there's one in every house, on the corner, best friend, school, church, job, everywhere you look, cousin, uncle, everyone is suspect. When I tell you that it's happening everywhere and it's rampant in Barbados, you didn't want to hear. You didn't want to hear when I told you that a past president of the Barbados Rotary Club and what he did. You didn't want to hear. You didn't want to hear about Mark Thompson. You didn't want to hear. You guys don't want to hear. Ask the woman he's with now what has happened to her. She learned. You learn. Okay, you're gonna learn. If you don't hear, you're gonna feel. Okay, so yeah, no one should have had to pay money for this to come out. You don't have to pay money. You could ask anyone who wants to tell you the truth. Anyone who lives in Barbados can tell you. A teacher, the teachers can tell you this. Teachers can tell you this. Okay, people that go to church can tell you this. People that take your kids out camping, camping, like how that minister, the one for Bridgetown, takes little boys wherever they camping. They can tell you it. They can tell you all about it. This is something that's known. It's something that is out there, but not out there. You know it, and you talk about it when you curse each other out, but you still don't know it because it's never in the news. The news people, the Barbados Today, Nation News, CBC, the talk show, they're not talking about it. They're not talking about how you guys are destroying yourselves from inside. You guys are destroying yourselves from within each other. No one has to come from there. Before you can say, oh, it's the Europeans, it's the colonial masters, it's those people that came in and just wrecked us. You can't say that anymore. And maybe it's because of that wrecking, that's maybe a reason that you are the way you are, okay? But you really can't point at anyone outside of where you are at the moment, because it's a civil war that you have going on. It's civil, and you're doing it. You just keep on doing it to yourselves, okay? The rates, the RAPE rates in the world found that the Caribbean and countries like Barbados have the highest rates. Believe that? You believe that? Highest rates. Higher than the global average. Higher than, can you see here? Higher than the global average. You see? Higher than the global average. Higher than that. Okay? And I told you that. You don't have to listen to no police commissioner. You don't have to listen to him, Roger Boy. I've been told you that. I've been reported when I wrote my books. I've been reported. I've been beat up on myself for allowing it to happen. Yeah, it happens. It happens. I'm doing an interview right now with a German female, young female, And it's hard. It is hard to get like an hour talking, maybe 45 minutes is crying. It's her trying to compose herself. I'm trying to get through an interview, and it is almost impossible to get through an interview and her telling what has happened to her when she was in Barbados. It's almost impossible. Had to get off the phone. Had to say, well, when you pull yourself together, call back. Same thing happens. I say, it's Thanksgiving. The holidays are coming up, so give yourself a couple days. She calls back in a couple days. Same cannot. She probably needs some help before she can go on the radio with me and tell the story without breaking down. I'm telling you, Barbados is a case study. It's a case. I said it from a decade ago when I started to figure it out. I said, somebody needs to go there and study what has happened to you guys. What did they do? What did they do? What has slavery left? What has happened to you? What has happened to you? I could have told all of this. You need to start paying me. All of this, I could have told you. All that, I could have told you. I could have told you. And it starts from the top. All those people that you see toasting to the queen and pretending that they care about country and they care about this and they don't care. They don't care. They'll take your money and they'll throw you off a cliff. They'll take what's yours, what you worked for. They'll take that and then they'll throw you off a cliff. That's how it works in Barbados. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. That's why it's going to continue. That's why you're devolving and the act of you doing what you're doing and getting worse. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better because you don't want to hear. You don't want to know the history. You don't want to know why you're behaving the way you're behaving. You don't want to study it. I don't study it. You don't want to study it. Okay? So it's going to continue. And in the meanwhile, you guys are breathing. You guys are duplicating yourselves. Copy of a 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 copy. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that they did a study on Barbados rates of RAPE? The R rates higher than average, but then again, I told you, I've been almost around the world. I've been all kinds of places alone, traveling alone. Never had the fear. Never suffered from fear, abject fear that I felt in Barbados. Never have that. Never have had that. Okay? So yeah, this should not come as a surprise to you. This should not. You're fooling yourselves because you're not fooling me and you're not fooling people that know. People that are in the know. You're not fooling nobody. So this should not come as a surprise to you that there is a danger zone. There is a danger zone. And, the men hurting women in Barbados has always been high. This has always been the case. Nothing new. Okay? There's nothing new here. Nothing. PSV workers to undergo women harassment prevention program. What's that? What's that? You have to teach them how not to harass the women? You have to teach them how not to harass people getting on the bus or people working with. You have to teach them? If their mama and their dada didn't teach them, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Can't do anything. You can't do anything. It's over. It's over and done until you want to sit and really study your actions and the way you think and the things you do and the decisions you make and the fact that you are having children when you can't properly support them. You don't have enough for yourself. You know these things. What if you know these things? And you're still behaving the way you are behaving? What can someone tell you? How can they make good out of bad? How can they produce something good out of something that started out Sometimes you can start out good and get bad. Yeah, you can understand that part. Sometimes you get a little broken, a little bent. Yeah, things happen. But if it starts out bad, how you expect to get good to come from that? Barbados, a little tiny country in the Caribbean, is among the higher than the global averages. Higher. Barbados has one of the highest rates of RAPE in the world. In the world. And I could have told you that. And it starts at the top. It starts with your rulers. It starts at the top. Your doctors, your all them in the clubs, all of them. It starts at the top, okay, and it trickles down. Trust no one. This is Sherry Veronica.